In this video, I'm going to be going over the cleaning process for this Manitowoc ice machine on a Pepsi dispenser or soda dispenser. This is not going to be the manufacturer's way of doing it. I've cleaned probably thousands of ice machines, and I'm going to show you my version of how to get this job done. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of the panels. On the inside of that front panel, you'll see the cleaning instructions. And you take out that screw there and that screw there. The front panel will slide open. There's a little tab that you can see on top of the ice machine. You press that tab down and the whole door will come off. You take the lid off and the two side panels and you'll probably be good to go. After loosening up these two screws, you can open this panel up. If you so choose to, there are cleaning instructions here. But if you've never done this job before, following these can be kind of tricky. And also some good information about your ice thickness probe, some of the safety limit codes, how to navigate the touchpad and where you end up, sequence of operations, so you know what's supposed to be energized and when. This is actually pretty common. One little tiny cube holding the machine, holding the water curtain open so the machine is off on full bin. Just let that go. That'll go to making ice, but we're actually gonna just turn it off because we'll be running our chemicals through the machine. We're gonna take the lid off, and I thought I had turned this off because I don't wanna get bopped in the head. But that pushes up, and we're gonna end up taking that off completely. But we're also going to take this rubber guy out right here so that when we get to that point, we can put our chemicals straight down between the water curtain and the evaporator. It'll eventually land in the water tray. It's the easiest way I've found to get the cleaner into the machine. So from the off state, press the clean button. Water will purge for 45 seconds. Then the water is going to fill into the water trough. Once the water is done filling, we will add our chemicals. We are using the Manitowoc Ice Machine Descaler. This product will be linked in the description below the video. We're going to be using 4 ounces. Water is now filling the water trough. As you can see, it's in water fill. I said we would wait until the water was done filling, but honestly, you can do it right now. It's not gonna hurt anything. But now that's in there. When it's done filling with water, that'll switch from water fill to, I think it says clean in progress, and it has a timer, so 29 minutes to end. At the end of 30 minutes, 29 minutes, the machine will just go to the off state, and then we'll move forward from there. If you find it necessary, so this door is out of your way, what you can do is you can press down on this little tab right here, and the whole door will come out of its hinges sometimes, just like that, and then you can set this down somewhere, and it just kind of gives you a little bit more room to do what you gotta do. Totally skipped a step. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug this Pepsi dispenser because every once in a while, the ice inside the dispenser agitates and moves around. But what I need to do is I need to cover all this ice with a plastic bag to protect the ice from any chemicals or other debris from falling on top of it. And just like that, the ice is protected. Anything that splashes out of there is gonna land on the bag, and then when we're done, we'll gather it up and get rid of it. So right now, while that thing's cleaning, very important to get back here behind the ice machine and clean out the condenser. As you can see, we have some, dust buildup, some lint buildup. So we're gonna use a coil brush and we're gonna brush that out. This is a coil brush. designed specifically for getting lint out of filters. This product will be linked in the description below the video as well. What I like to do is get the surface dust off, and then I'll get some compressed air, and then I'll blow air through the coil to get the rest of it out. What I'm using to blow out the condenser is actually compressed nitrogen, but it amounts to the same thing as compressed air, or like a little bottle of computer duster. All you want is to get some air to flow through here to blow all the dust out of the machine. And pretty soon this entire room is going to get filled up with dust. That's why I'm here so early. Otherwise people are going to have a dusty cheeseburger instead of a good delicious Dairy Queen cheeseburger. Very important step when doing your preventative maintenance is to make sure your water filter gets changed on a regular basis. This one is actually overdue by just a couple days. The idea is just to relieve the pressure, turn off the water, relieve the pressure, and then you remove your old filter, put your new filter in place. The different water filters have different requirements for flushing and how often they need to get changed. So just make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to get that done. Clean process just ended. Like I said, it's going to be just displayed as being in the off state. And then we're going to remove these parts for cleaning. Removing the water curtain, usually easier with two hands, but the idea is you kind of pull out here, push in here to get that tab out. So it'll look something like that. We're just gonna take this. Honestly, this is kind of the dust particles from when I was blowing out the condenser. This is actually a pretty clean machine, but we're still gonna take it apart and clean it. Water curtain, water trough, and there is a trick. If you cross your hands, so this hand will go over here and you can grab that, and this hand will go over here and you can grab that, and you can pull them out. But you can also just do it with one hand and slide it out of place. There's usually a little bit of water left over in it, so just make sure it doesn't go all over the place. Ice thickness probe comes out, you press in the short tab, and that slides out. These are more than finger tight, so I'm gonna need to get a wrench, but I'll loosen up this finger screw, and this guy will slide out of place. This is a 3/8 finger screw as well, but it's more than finger tight, so we're gonna get a 3/8 nut driver and remove this piece, which is called the water diverter. This is called the water distribution tube. When the 3/8 screw, nut, finger nut, whatever you want to call it, is removed, the water diverter just drops down and then slides out of that little holder. The water distribution tube is removed after removing the two finger screws. You just pull forward on it. And there's a secondary piece that sometimes is a little tricky, but if you can get your finger behind it, you can usually, maybe not. You can also use a screwdriver, I guess. Use something like this, and just be careful because this thing will crack, but once it kind of comes free, it comes free, and then you can pull it out the rest of the way. There's just a couple of O-rings. Make sure that those aren't damaged, and then apply some food safe lubricant to them if they're all dried out. Next thing we're going to remove is the water level probe, which that just pops out of there. There's a little plug with a tab on it. Push this tab in right here, and the plug will just come apart. We're gonna take that to the sink to make sure these probes stay nice and clean. The water pump gets removed by pulling it straight down. Sometimes you have to give it a little bit of motivation in order for it to pop out. Once it does, if you've not done this before, the plug might be wrapped up inside. You might have to cut a zip tie or two, but that'll come out of place. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this entire area. When I'm done with that, I'll take these parts to the sink and clean those in the sink. Because this machine is so clean, the way I'm gonna end up cleaning it is I'm gonna spray this food safe sanitizer that'll also be linked in the description. I'm gonna spray all my surfaces, and then I'm just gonna take a clean rag like this, and I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna wipe it all up, get everything out of there. There's also a version of this maintenance where I scrub it with a green scrubby, and I use a pump sprayer with water and I rinse it all down. If this machine was really dirty, I would probably do that, but because this machine is so clean, I believe that this is plenty. There's also a water line. You can shove a brush up this to that point, but like I said, the machine is so clean that I'm not gonna do that step. Something else that's super important is, oh, you can't even really see it. It's all the way down in there. Something called a dump valve. Well, the dump valve isn't really accessible because of this wall. When I do check it, I have to end up moving this machine to the left to be able to get to it. I do it about once a year because I'm not concerned with it being dirty or in need of attention. And honestly, moving the ice machine to check the dump valve is kind of a pain. I know that it's working properly because during the clean process, it opened to drain out all the water and it closed. So I'm not gonna actually check it this go around, but that is an important step. After wiping all your surfaces clean, it's good to spray your ice machine sanitizer on all of your surfaces and let it dry on the surface. It creates a film that inhibits the growth of any bacteria and keeps your ice machine nice and clean and sanitized. I won't be recording the entire process for cleaning these parts, but the basic idea is to remove as much of this stuff as possible, any dirt. For this one, make sure you don't get it wet from here up, otherwise you get water inside there, this thing won't work right. Make sure these are nice and shiny. Use a green Scotch-Brite pad, something similar to this. Clean up all this stuff, and then once all the parts are cleaned, we're just gonna go ahead and throw them back in there the same way you took them out, and show you what that looks like when I'm all done and give you a couple of pointers on things to look out for. All done cleaning my parts. I did spray everything with sanitizer when I was done cleaning. Very important to make sure that the gap on this is set correctly. The instructions are in the inside of the front panel. That's one of the important notes. Getting this water tray in is sometimes a pain, but make sure that that spins or opens and closes freely. Sometimes it'll hit the top of the water trough. Other thing you're gonna wanna verify is that none of the cords from removing the water level probe, which would be this cord right here, and the cord for the water pump, which is kind of hard to get to, which is a good thing, which just means it's off to the side. So it would be this cord right here. Just want to make sure that they're tucked away so that the fan doesn't hit them when the fan turns on. We are going to run one more clean cycle just using Sanitizer as the last cleaning step before we turn the machine on and see if it makes ice properly. While the machine is in clean mode, we will be putting the front panel, side panel, top panel, as well as this little rubber piece. Put those all back on, have that done, so when my clean cycle is over, I can just go ahead and turn on the machine. Don't forget that you unplugged the dispenser earlier. Make sure you plug it in, otherwise your dispenser is not going to work, and you're not going to get any soda out of your soda dispenser. Clean cycle is all over. Machine is now making ice. Very important not to forget to take out this plastic bag because it'll get sucked up into the ice agitator. It'll get all wrapped up and get torn to shreds, and you'll have to empty out the entire soda dispenser of all the ice to get the plastic bag out, which is not fun. Speaking from experience, I am going to plug it in to light up that Pepsi sign. That'll just verify that the dispenser is actually plugged in and ready to work. I might even dispense a couple of ice cubes out of it to make sure. Dispenser is plugged in and we have ice. As soon as that drops its first sheet of ice, we will check the bridge thickness to make sure it's set correctly, and then close the front panel and be on our way. Barely caught that. Ice just fell from the evaporator. Harvest time was about 1 minute and 52 seconds. The machine will end up shutting off because the water curtain is held open. That'll go from making ice to full bin. Like I said, 30 seconds, it'll shut off. I will be checking my bridge thickness, which honestly, it is probably a little thick, but let me break a piece out of there to give you a better shot of what that looks like. So that's what the bridge looks like. We're shooting for 1/8 inch, and that's slightly thicker than it should be. So what we're gonna end up doing is taking a little bit of thickness off of the ice thickness probe by turning it counterclockwise. It'll bring the sensor closer to the grid, which will make that gap smaller. And there you are right there. Is basically 1/8 inch. And then, oh, there it is right there. 1/8 inch, that's the bridge. That's what we're looking at right there. Cleaning ice machines is relatively easy once you get the process down. I used to follow the steps, step by step, every single time, which ends up basically becoming a waste of time because you end up doing steps that you don't need to do. There's a lot of waiting that goes into the way the manufacturer spells out their step-by-step process, which totally makes sense. They're writing the cleaning instructions for people who have never cleaned an ice machine before, but if you've done it once or twice, you don't even really need to look at the instructions. You just kind of know the process. Make sure the condenser is clean. Make sure you run your descaler. Make sure you run your sanitizer. Taking apart the machine, probably can't even really figure that out based off the instructions on the inside of the front panel. But watching this video, you now know how to take it apart. If you clean it pretty often, it never really gets that bad. Manufacturer recommends a minimum of every 6 months. If I'm being totally honest, I would say you probably need to get it done every 3 months. If the machine is really clean, then yeah, 6 months sounds good. But if at 3 months you open the machine up, it's dirty, I would up it to once a month. Ice is food. People eat it, people drink it, people chew on it. You want to make sure that stuff's clean. You don't want anyone to get sick. And that's basically it. That's the clean process for a Manitowoc ice machine on top of a dispenser. I'd encourage you to check out the Ice Machine 411 YouTube channel. There's a bunch of different videos covering everything from Ice-O-Matic to Istro to Hashizaki, Scotsman, Manitowoc, and some random machines sprinkled in there as I come across them. There's cleaning videos, service videos, troubleshooting videos, uh, how to replace certain parts on different types of ice machines. If you need specific guidance or you have some questions you want to ask, there is a free Ice Machine 411 group chat on Patreon. Patreon's usually like a donation platform to show your support for the channel. But if you don't want to do that, you can just check out the free group chat, message. There's about 23 of us in there right now. Message us all at the same time. Give us, your issue, and we'll all try to, chime in and help you out and get to the bottom of whatever it is that you're dealing with. Until I see you on the next video, I hope you're having a good time out there and being safe, and we'll see you on the next video.